So we are so excited to have all of you join us here today for this wonderful session that we have prepared. It's called Ask a Hawk. So we have 5 fantastic students here with us today that are going to be sharing a bit more about their experience. We're going to cover all things academics, student life in general. So academics, the social life, campus engagement, and we'll even be discussing things related to our diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts here on campus. So we really look forward to diving in. We have Torshea Anderson here with us today, who's going to be our moderator. Hi, Torshea. Thank you for joining us. She is the Executive Director for Student Engagement and Inclusion here with the Center for Student Success. And with that, what we're going to do to get started is we are going to have our student panelists introduce themselves. So they're each going to share their name, their major, school, college, class year, and then a fun fact about themselves or a favorite UHart memory. So to start, I'm just going to call names. Yuli, will you get us started with the intros? Thank you.
Hi, Victoria. Hi, Torsh. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I guess I'm the first Hawk that's going to be introduced. My name is Yuli Daichi. I'm an international student from Albania. I am a senior. I'm majoring in politics, psychology, and mathematics, and I'm the president of Student Government Association. Fun fact about my UHart time. I don't know. I was just mentioning before that last Hawktober, can I make it Hawktober related? Yes. Last Hawktober, me and a friend got into this very, very competitive Jenga game. And we drew like an audience because that's how it was very competitive. But I think I won. That's a good memory.
Wonderful. Thank you, Yuli. Nelson.
Hello, guys. How you guys doing today? My name is Nelson Wyatt Jr. I'm a junior here at the University of Hartford. I am a business management major. A fun fact I would like, or maybe some fun I had. I really enjoyed freshman year, spring fling. That was a really fun time. I got to get out, meet a lot of people, and I love the food trucks. That was also fun. So yeah, that was a good memory.
Thank you, Nelson. Jasmine.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jasmine Streeter. I'm a senior here at UHart, majoring in physical therapy, and I'm in ENHP. And a memory that I have here at UHart is our BSU fashion show. That's my favorite part of every year.
Thank you. Allie.
Hi, everyone. My name is Allie Deno. I am a senior psychology major with a minor in gender studies. And my favorite memory of UHart was being a Red Cap orientation leader, just because it's a great experience.
Thanks. And Jaden.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming. My name is Jaden Ramikis. I am a junior. I study data analytics, managerial economics, politics, and international studies with a minor in political economy. I'm in the College of Arts and Sciences and Barney. And then a favorite UHart memory I have to go with Allie. I loved being a Red Cap orientation leader.
Wonderful. Thank you. And Torshea is going to take it away. Thank you all for your wonderful introductions. But I wanted to just mention quickly that at any point throughout the session, if you have a question, just feel free to pop it into the Q&A box, and we will have time towards the end to answer those questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We have a fabulous group of students here to answer some questions for you all. So we'll hop right into the questions, and Nelson, we'll start with you. And then Yuli, if you want to pop in after Nelson to answer the same question. Your freshman year, can you share a little bit about your first year experience? What things did you do to launch your campus involvement? And what helped you to feel welcome and a part of the UHart family?
Okay. So my freshman year was actually a very fun time. I got to meet a lot of people, make a lot of friends. I think one thing that got me more involved was Red Caps, actually. So coming to the school, meeting all of the wonderful Red Caps, it was an amazing experience seeing how engaged they all were and how connected they seemed to be. And I just wanted to be a part of that, you know what I mean? So I think maybe around December, I figured out that they had like tryouts or something like that. And I was like, okay, let me just try to get involved and see if I could be something like that. So I did it, made it. So then I think even though it wasn't my freshman year, the summer of my sophomore year, that's when I actually got very, very connected. I got to meet a lot of people and see a lot of clubs that they were in. And then they pushed me to do many different things and try new things. So I think that was a wonderful experience my freshman year. Another thing, I'm also an athlete. So I got to meet a bunch of athletes, you know what I mean, through lift or athletic games or whatever. And I think my funnest experience might have been at like basketball games freshman year. Like I miss those so much even now because those were the fun times. You got to connect with people and everything like that. So yeah, I think that's the way that I got involved on campus.
I actually had a very, very similar experience. My freshman year was so totally different from the other three, just because I was very shy, number one. I had just come from a different country because I am, again, an international student. And I don't know why, I think I thought I couldn't speak English. So I just decided to keep to myself and, minimize my interactions with other people. So I knew two people freshman year, and if those two people were not available, I was alone. And then everything changed sophomore year. And I guess what really launched that was when I became an RA, I started meeting with my staff and with different people. And then I also got involved in student government. And it was just this mixture of people who were very driven, people who really liked going out, talking about like these big topics that made everything so much more interesting. I think the advice that goes for the parents and the students that might be attending is just do not keep to yourself if you're able to. There's so many opportunities out there, but there's that gap that you are the one who needs to fill in. As in, like, you are promised the opportunities, you need to make that step. I made it. I was really happy that I did, though. Otherwise, pretty sure I wouldn't have met all these wonderful people I'm on a panel with today. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Yuli. Thank you, Nelson. So we'll jump right into the next question. And Allie, this one's for you. And then we'll go back to Nelson. You can respond after. Let's fast forward to today. What does a typical day look like for you? Can you walk us through it?
Okay, so I guess I wake up around 7 and I get my coffee to get the day going. And I typically go over to the SGA office and I get a lot of my schoolwork done and any SGA work done. So I'll be in there for like 2 to 3 hours in the morning. I'll head over to GSU to grab lunch because I'm like obsessed with the food at GSU, like Einstein's, Moe's, the Poke Bowl station. And then typically I'll go back down and get some more work done while I'm eating. And then if I have class, I'll go to class either online or in person. And I get like 8 to 10 hours of sleep. Like that's something I'm really happy about. So I do end the night around like 9 or 10 because I need the sleep to be as optimistic and positive as I can every day. So yeah, I guess it's just like a lot in the SGA office because it's such a great community down there and I can get a lot of work done.
Okay, well, me, unlike Allie, I don't get too much sleep. So I wake up at 5 a.m. actually because I have practice in the morning. So typical day may start around 6, go to practice, get out of practice, take a quick shower, and then I got an 8:30 class. And then from then on, that's when I get my break. So I try to take a nap, but sometimes that doesn't really work too well. So I'd maybe just play video games or study or talk to friends or something. And then I got a bunch of classes in the afternoon plus lift. So my day typically ends around maybe like 5:30, 6. Then I got time to, grab food with some friends or just do something that I want to do for the remainder of the day. But I don't really go to sleep until maybe, I would say like 12:30. So I don't sleep too much, but, I just like to enjoy my time, especially during these times. It's very important to just get to know people and to hang out with your friends because it's been a long summer. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And that kind of brings us into the next question a little bit. Jaden, this question is for you. 2020 has been quite the year and has looked very different from years past. So can you talk a little bit about what classes have been like with integration of hybrid, remote, and online options, and what have student support services looked like?
Yeah, absolutely. I have to echo what you said. 2020 has been quite the year, and for academics, that is no different. With our integration of remote, hybrid, and online classes, it's really been an adjustment for a lot of students, including myself. But I really do believe that these have really helped students pick what is the best, but also the safest way for them to attend classes and continue their education. The resources on campus have been amazing. I've used the tutoring center. They also have online options. And then this Center for Student Success, all of the people there are wonderful and always willing to help. And then we also have on campus the Counseling and Psychological Services office, which they really help with stress management. And sometimes it is really hard to adjust to a new way of learning. I know at first, back in March when we first started to have to learn online, it was really challenging for students. So I've utilized CAPS, but also the tutoring center just to kind of help me get there with the adjustment from being fully in person to some of my classes being fully online.
Thank you, Jaden. So Yuli and Jasmine, can you talk a little bit about campus engagement and clubs and all of the extracurricular activities that each of you are involved with, as well as leadership opportunities?
Yeah, I'll go first. So on campus, we have a lot of different clubs that you can, sorry, the sun just started coming into my eyeball. But there's a lot of different clubs that you can participate in. We have multicultural organizations, we have Greek life, we have like religious groups, sports, anything that you're interested in, UHart has. Me personally, I'm a part of BSU. That's Brothers and Sisters United here on campus. And as far as leadership opportunities, you can become a part of the executive boards of these clubs. So like for BSU, I'm the vice president, but we do have like leadership clubs as well. For females, there's LEAD. I'm a part of that. And they teach you like how to build your resume and interview and things like that. We also have Stride, which is good for, it's for Black and Brown freshmen to teach them those like, you know, getting your 4.0 and everything like that. So yeah.
Again, I think I can only try to expand upon Jasmine's answer. Me and Jasmine see each other a lot just because of we're so involved in our clubs and organizations. We usually have fun during our interactions, unless I did something that pissed her off. And then she's like, Yuli, we're gonna have a talk. Which just shows how many extracurricular activities we actually have here. Again, there's something that caters to everyone's interests. For those that are interested in sports, but are, you know, maybe everybody's not as good as Nelson to join a D1 team, we can try a club sport, something that's a little bit, you know, more lightweight, like me, and many other things. Jasmine mentioned the identity affinity organizations, particularly because those are usually the clubs and organizations that engage like the biggest events and the biggest amount of students. But they also often cooperate with other ones like community service organizations or artistic organizations and even academic ones. Point is, you get to meet people that share the same interests as you, share the same like ideals, share the same, sometimes the same problems. And I think it promotes a type of unity that you want. You want people who sort of get you. It's really important.
Thank you, Yuli. And Jasmine, this next question is for you again, Yuli. You talked about a while ago in one of your earlier questions how you were a shy first-year student. Not so much knowing who you are now, not so much anymore. Can you talk a little bit about social life, your social life and free time and events on campus and doing things off campus?
Yeah, Absolutely. So again, I was so shy my freshman year that I think a lot of the friends that I know now think that I transferred my sophomore year because they never saw me or heard from me. And social life is different, especially this year with COVID. Everybody's trying to be extra careful to make sure that we can slow the spread. Speaking of the spread, I think we need to acknowledge the fact that we have 0 cases on campus right now, because that is a crazy good news, which just means that, people are being actually really responsible. So, but with respect to social life, I think, again, it's difficult. It's not impossible. People are being really creative in terms of where they meet with others. So something that we've seen booming this semester has been little picnics that people are having outside. And as well as little events, club meetings are still being able to be held in person as long as, rules are being adhered to. So it's not as different. The way I've been doing it personally, every now and then I do like to invite 2 or 3 of my friends. We can go to the village lawn. We set up like little blankets and we get some food and some drinks and we just enjoy the night. And we sort of catch up with each other, but everybody feels safe and that, we're maintaining that distance and everything else. Victoria, I don't know if this would be appropriate. Can I also try to answer the other question that was asked in the chat? Okay, perfect. You're muted, but I read your lips. You said yes, perfect.
You could read my lips. Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. Of course, the phrase of the year. Unmute yourself. Yes, I was just saying that please do that. I was just sending a note to letting Torshea know about the question because it relates to this. So please.
Awesome. Yeah. So there's a question among the chat that asks, how often do you go to Hartford or West Hartford? And the answer is very often. The answer is very often. Because both of those areas are pretty close to campus. I have some friends that live in downtown Hartford and I like to visit them every now and then. And then Hartford has the malls as well as like the little shopping centers, which I visit. And the answer is often. I use a car, but I also have used the shuttle before, particularly my freshman and sophomore year. There's a shuttle on campus, which drives you to some of like the most important areas or like the areas that where you have the most shops, where you could either do some grocery shopping or shopping mall. But yeah, so they are very accessible. The cities are pretty close. Me and Ali just got some food this past Monday together, and we went to Blueback Square, which is right in West Hartford.
Thank you, Yuli. Yeah, just to add to that, our shuttles have been running more frequently this semester, which has been very helpful. And we've added stops to the routes, so that people are able to move around the city more and not feel isolated on campus. So I'm going to hop right into the next question. And this question is for Ali and Jasmine. Can you talk a little bit about professional development, on-campus student involvement, internships, any volunteering that you do, and resources and programming through the Office of Career and Professional Development?
So I'm actually the social media coordinator for the Office of Career and Professional Development. So if you have any like individual questions, like feel free to email me if you have like questions about internship opportunities. But just in general, I think it's really easy to get a job on campus if you put yourself out there. I talked about this in the presentation earlier this morning, but I have held 9 positions on campus and I'm currently in 4 of them. So I work 30 to 40 hours a week. And with that, I think I've grown with each one and I've gotten to be able to figure out what works for me and what doesn't. And each job has connected me with a new faculty member, a new staff member. So putting yourself out there is such a great opportunity just because UHart is a safe place where jobs are flexible because they know school comes first. So I recommend just reaching out to wherever you would like to apply and just sending your resume, cover letter, anything like that. But internships are also a really great opportunity because you also get to feel out the field that you're going into and see if you like the direction you're going. But in general, I think volunteer work is also something that people don't think of doing, but it's a really great networking opportunity and just a great way to give back to the community. So the Office of Career and Professional Development can help you with any of those things. So their website is online at the UHart website. You just type in career and professional development. It's a mouthful, I'm sorry. And there's just a bunch of resources on how to job seek, how to build your resume, and there's a bunch of events on campus as well. So feel free to check that out. And if you have any questions, like I said, just send me an email and I'm happy to meet with you and talk.
Allie, did you do an internship?
I did do an internship. I worked at True Colors, which is the LGBTQ plus service for like the greater Hartford community. And I got to help plan the big festival that we do. And obviously COVID impacted it a little bit, but it was just a great way to give back to the community because I know that's such an important thing for many people. And it was a great experience.
I did want to mention one thing that Allie had mentioned. You had referenced the session from earlier today, Allie, and just for our attendees to know, she was talking about a Hartford 101 session, which is one of the Hawktober events that we prepared for you this weekend. The good news for those that have missed it is that we are recording our sessions, so you will have a chance to hear that information and to, participate in that event after the fact still, so that's exciting.
Yeah, so going off of what Ali said, there are a lot of opportunities for students to work on campus. I personally work in the Office of Student Engagement and Inclusion. I only work 8 hours a week. I don't work 40 hours a week. But I don't have work study. So like the school offers jobs for students with work study, jobs for students without work study. So like if you don't have it, don't stress, you'll be able to find a job on campus. As far as like internships go, I know ENHP, a lot of the majors, like they have their own personal like internships they go on. Like I have 2 roommates right now who are education majors, and half of their week is spent in the classroom with actual students, like in schools around campus. Yeah. Personal development though, like I was mentioning before with LEAD, you apply to it coming into your freshman year, but every year like students drop out of it, like because they leave the school or just it's too much to handle. So if you're a female looking to join LEAD, like just wait, and like they'll put it out there that like, hey, like we have openings. So yeah, but
Jasmine, I think you're selling yourself a little bit short because I've seen the events you put on with BSU, and that feels like that's not something anybody can just do. Feels like it takes a little bit of while and professional skills.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, what Yuli said, putting on events for clubs does take professional development. It takes a lot of organization and time management. So like, you just, I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, so to help out a little bit, the fashion show, for example, typically the students in the BSU start planning the fashion show as soon as they get back in September. And, it's everything from tryouts, hill workshop, which I can't walk in hills, so I could never be in the fashion show unless you give me permission to walk in some really nice sneakers. So we can do some sneaker workshops. And leading up to a pretty amazing show, typically in February. This year is going to look a little different, but it's a whole year of planning for an event that brings in probably around $8,000 to $9,000, and all of that supports the book fund, which helps students purchase their most expensive books. So that's a event that Jasmine is leading this year. So this brings us right into our next question. Students are always super, super busy, whether it's athletics, clubs, working 30, 40 hours a week. Yuli and Nelson, or anyone else that wants to jump in, can you talk a little bit about time management? How do you balance academics with campus involvement, student employment, internships, social activities, everything?
I think me and Nelson should definitely answer, but you should also get someone who sleeps in this panel to answer. So Jaden, Ali, or Jasmine, whoever here gets more than 6 hours of sleep per day, feel free to hop in. Yeah, it is a crazy game that I feel it does take a little bit of experience. I think at a certain point, you realize that the habits that you had in high school are no longer sustainable. You can't pull one-nighters out every other night. At a certain point, you do need to make like a schedule and write things down and create a planner. Whereas I'm pretty sure in high school, I always used to buy planners because I thought they were like pretty, and then fill like the first page and then lose it. So in terms of skills, here are a few things that I really do suggest. Get into the habit of making a calendar and writing things down. Whether it's electronic or in print, whatever works best for you, really get into the habit of making that calendar. It helps me keep track because sometimes I really do feel like if my head wasn't screwed on, I'd lose it 5 times a day. And the other one is, I think it is part of time management, but it's also part of like self-care. Try to spend your time, your non-busy time, very wisely. In that, make sure that if you're going to rest actively. Either make sure that you're off with your phone and just going to lay in bed, or you're going to go for a run, or just do something that you know for a fact you're like, I'm not going to think about school for a second. And keep those times at least once like that a week for yourself. You need it, because I swear there comes a point in the semester where things are piling up that you wish you had a moment to breathe. This is that moment. So that's a big part of time management. In case you don't want your schedule to go crazy and pop, find some time for yourself and your self-care.
All right. Well, firstly, I know I made that sound terrible. I do sleep. Okay. It's just that. So last year, I've had a bunch of morning classes, so sophomore year was like tough because in the business school, at least, you're in a time block. So you can't really choose your classes. So you get all the morning classes. So that's why last year I got like 6 to 7 hours of sleep. I was doing good in sleeping, but this year, all my classes are in the afternoon. So like Yuli said, it takes experience. I start to realize what my schedule looks like and how to maintain, do certain things. So like now I could sleep late or go to sleep late, go to practice, and I have all of the morning time until like 1 to sleep before another class. So I do sleep. Sleep is very important. So you guys should get sleep. But another thing, time management is probably the most important thing to be successful in college. Like, I definitely spend a lot of time socializing because, just with COVID and stuff, like I miss my friends so much. And now that I'm here, I finally get to socialize. But also, I do spend a lot of time studying, working out, doing the things that I need to do to be successful. So basically, I just like to write stuff down. I like to just make a list of the things I have to get done for the week. And it's very different than how it's looked in the past years, because this year I have mostly remote classes. So I think the toughest thing coming into it was I would get a bunch of assignments. And now it's like, now I start to realize what assignment is due at what day. So I have a bunch of assignments due Thursdays, Fridays, and Sundays. Those are usually the days that my assignments are due. So that helps me make my schedule, because I know that maybe I have to do some work Tuesday that's due Thursday. Maybe on Thursday I do some work that's due Sunday. And maybe on Wednesday I do some work that's due Friday. I never want to wait till last second to get any work done, because once you start doing that, that's a bad habit to get into. You do not want to wait till last second to do your work. But I try to get my work done early so that I'm never stressing. I'm never feeling like I have to do something. I'm always doing what I want and what I like to do. And that just comes with experience, like you said. That also comes with hard working, and you gotta be very positive and believe that you're gonna get it done. Don't get down on yourself, because when midterms or finals come, that's when the grind starts, and that's when you really gotta settle down and do what you gotta do. So I think with my time management, I like to just write stuff down, get stuff done early. I don't want to wait till last second and procrastinate with anything, because I like to be very social, and when you wait till last second with things, your social life is gonna go down a little bit. So I really do think it's important to focus on your time management.
Thank you, Nelson and Yuli. Anyone else? All right, I'll move right along. So let's talk. Oh, go ahead, Nelson.
I see 2 questions in the question and answer box. They said, do we all live on campus? So I live on campus. I'm pretty sure Yuli lives on campus. Yeah, I think we all live on campus.
Yeah.
So,
but I've commuted. I've been a commuter for a year. So if anybody wants a few commuter tips, I got you.
Yeah, and that could be very helpful to hear a little bit, for example, about the Commuter Student Association, for example, Yuli. Great idea, thank you.
Yeah, so being a commuter, it's of course a very different experience from being residential. You don't get to interact with people as much. And you don't, sometimes, you know, events are happening that if you were residential, you just walk to, whereas a commuter, you need to have this whole big master plan of, I'm gonna drive to it and, you know, park my car here and go there. But that's not 100%. So for example, you know, groups and clubs and organizations such as the Commuter Student Association, it's sort of their job and their mission to keep commuter students in the loop and make them feel part of the community and make sure that they know what events are going on, things that they might be interested towards. Speaking from personal experience, I have just one thing to say to commuter students, which is the mistake I did my freshman year when I was a commuter. And that is, don't just come to campus for your classes and then leave after your class is done and expect it would be a little bit of, you know, irrational to expect, oh, you know, where's my involvement? Where's my campus commitment? Stick around, stay for lunch at GSU, go visit a few offices. I've honestly, the greatest tip I can ever give to people is walk into random offices and say hi to people. I'm pretty sure that's how I met Torshea, and we're best friends now. I say we're best friends. She just says we're acquaintances. But yeah, so for commuter students, do not just go back home. Stick around.
Absolutely. Thank you, Yuli. All my undergraduate career, I lived on campus. In grad school, my first year, I lived off campus. And I would agree with you, Yuli, that my first year in my grad work, I just came to campus for class and it felt so different. That next year I lived on campus, even as a grad student, and I got to know the campus better. I made more friends. So I would echo your advice to, you know, try to find times where you can come to campus and stay a while, meet some folks and then really get involved with all that the campus has to offer.
Joshea, I think what the audience really needs to hear is whether we're best friends or not.
Sorry. Oh, Yuli. I'm currently watching, I'll let you in on my life currently. I'm currently rewatching The Parkers, and I kind of feel like we have a Nikki Parker, Professor Ogilvy relationship where Parker and I am the professor always running away from you. No, I do love Yuli. I do love Yuli. He's easy to love, and he's in the office quite often. So I'm sorry, everyone. I will hop right into the next question.
There's one question in the question box. Someone asked,
yes, about food.
Most decide you. Oh, is it that question too?
Okay.
I can answer the question about the major. Somebody can answer the question about the food if they want. I would say that with the major, everyone's process is different. I've talked to a bunch of people. The way they decide their major is completely different than mine. Me, coming into college, I just thought business would be it. I didn't know where in business I wanted to do, but I just knew that in life, like business is just surrounded around you. And I just went into it and I was, you know what, I'm going to go with business and we'll see what happens. And then it just so happens that I loved it and that it stuck with me the best. So I just stuck with that. I know everybody else is different though. I think that the best way to decide your major, if you're not sure, is to just try new things. You know what I mean? Just just pick something, try it. You're here for 4 years. You got 2 years to really choose what you want to do. So if you're in some classes, you don't like them, you can switch your major, try some new classes. If you don't like that, switch your major, try some new classes. You know what I mean? Just be very open to trying new things. And I say that with passion because you don't want to wait till your junior year to realize I really don't like what I'm doing. Like I don't want to, because then that's just a lot of money wasted, a lot of time wasted. You have to just try. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But you never want to go into something thinking, well, I wish I would have tried this. I wish I would have tried that. So experience is the best thing I can give you.
I just want to echo that Nelson said. I think that was put beautifully. I actually came into the university as an engineering major, and I don't know if you remember the list of majors that I gave earlier, but engineering is not one of them, because I realized that I started getting involved politically and like doing activist work, and I realized what I liked doing more was what I was doing outside of the classroom better than what I was doing in the classroom. So when you think about what you enjoy and what you want to do with your life. And if you're realizing that, hey, maybe the major that I thought I was interested in isn't exactly what I want to do anymore, that's totally okay. I've changed my major 3 different times now. It's okay. You just want to make sure that once you find something that you really like, you're able to put yourself into it and really immerse yourself in it, and just make sure that that's what you think is right for you.
Thank you, Nelson and Jaden. So Jasmine and Jaden, can you talk a little bit about UHart's diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts and share ways students can get involved and learn more via initiatives, events, programs on campus, opportunities, support resources?
Yeah, so like I mentioned before, when we were talking about clubs, our Office of Student Engagement Inclusion includes multicultural organizations, and I am VP for just one, but we have organizations for African students, Caribbean students, Haitian students, Spanish students, Black students. Yeah. Students, it's very easy to get involved with these organizations. Beginning of the school year, we have a club fair, and again in the spring, we have a club fair where you just walk up to the table that you're interested in and sign up to be a part of their email list. As soon as you start getting the emails, go to the meetings. A lot of the clubs, it's not mandatory to go to every single meeting. You go when you can, which is great. And all the clubs have events, fundraisers, a lot of things to get involved with. Like for BSU, I know we ask for volunteers for like the fashion show. During a typical year when we have parents' dinner that would have been this weekend, we need volunteers to help us serve food. Yeah, and they're just like, the organizations are just great because you can feel like yourself in them. They feel like they are a safe space for you to be in, no matter what you identify as or your race or ethnicity, religion. It's great.
Yeah, I have to go off of what Jasmine said. She did it great. We have a lot of different places on campus for diversity, equity, inclusion, and we also try to put it in everything that we do. We have a diversity, equity, and inclusion committee on the campus that I am a part of. It's students and it's faculty and staff. It's fantastic. We do a lot of different work just to make sure that we are including all students into the decisions that we make for the campus. And then we also have different kinds of clubs that Jasmine was talking about, but we also have a club that's called Spectrum for LGBTQ students. I used to be the president, but due to the scheduling conflicts, I wasn't involved this year, but it's a really great resource for students who are LGBTQ to just talk to other students who have similar experiences, to learn more about themselves and about other people. It's a really good way to make friends, just like joining any other club. We have a lot of different events on campus that celebrate just our differences and how coming together as a campus community is really great. So diversity, equity, inclusion on campus is so important. And we like to make sure that all of our students feel safe and happy.
I am going to hire myself as Jasmine's PR person because, boy, I'm going to give you a trophy that says sold myself short. What are you doing? First of all,
I was about to add it to the end.
okay.
So yes, recently this year, I put together a march on campus to coincide with March on Washington and just everything that we as Black people are facing in America right now. And from that, SGA created a grant for clubs that provides them with $1,000 to put on an event or whatever they may have that focuses on social injustice. So that is something else that the university has done.
So the grant, which by the way bears Jasmine's name, is meant for students and clubs or organizations with ideas on how to educate our campus community, whether it is faculty, staff, or students, onto like how to make things better. How can we address the problems? And I do agree. We do have a lot of we do put a lot of attention to this matter. But one thing that I also want to point out is that we have a great accountability and support system in terms of if something that you didn't feel was right, or if you feel like something that's going on does not represent these values, that diversity, equity, and inclusion, Torshea and I will grab a sword and shield and we'll head there. So I just also want to point that out, that there is a great system that students have created of sort of, you know what, I want to demand that I feel comfortable in the place that I live, or I want to demand that I feel included into the clubs or represented in the clubs and education system that I'm a part of. So yeah, go Jasmine.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. So I'm going to, we have a few questions in the Q&A that I'm going to throw out to our wonderful student panel. Let's talk a little bit about food. What is food like at UHart? What's your favorite place to eat on campus? And can you order food to be delivered to campus? Jasmine, then Nelson.
UHart food, yeah. There's Commons, and then there's also, we have Starbucks in the library, and inside GSU, there is Moe's, Burger Studio or The Coop, Einstein's, little pasta place, Poke Bowls. They started adding in smoothies and acai bowls recently. Love that. My favorite place to eat on campus is my apartment because I have a kitchen and I can cook and I'm sorry. But yeah, so I have a kitchen and I can cook. Yeah.
All right. Well, to add on to that, yeah, there's some good spots here. I used to love Moe's sophomore year. Like I went there all the time, and then this year, now that GSU is only open a certain time, I realized like I have to actually go out of my way to walk there. So I was like, if I'm gonna walk all the way across campus to get food, like I'm gonna actually sit down and get something good. So then I went for the first time. I would say I think Friday I went over to GSU, and it was this pasta place, and it was actually really good. And I was like, okay. So now I think that's my favorite spot. I'm not sure yet. I'm gonna be trying a lot of new things. I mean, the Coop is really good. Burger Studio is really. I always get Burger Studio when I go over there, and I just started trying new things. I missed out on the smoothie place because somebody told me about it, and I was too lazy to walk over there. But now, like, I'm going to actually start actively going to GSU more. So I would recommend, if you haven't had the pasta place, it's very good. And also we have Hawk's Nest because I eat there almost every night. That's a great spot.
Thank you. Any other recommendations or any other favorites for food?
I have the terrible habit, and Ali knows this because we always see each other in the morning. I have a terrible habit. I usually get a Nova Lox bagel at the break of dawn because, it doesn't matter if you eat fish or onions anymore because we have a mask now, so we're good. But I have this horrible habit. Einstein's does this amazing Nova Lox. It's my favorite thing. It is my favorite thing in the world, I must say.
Ali, did you have something to say or?
I can talk about meal equivalencies versus dining dollars if you would like. So I love my meal equivalency plan because I get Hawks Nest a lot, and just like using a swipe versus dining dollars helps me not run out of dining dollars. But also like Einstein's, if I get my coffee at Starbucks, using my dining dollars, I'll get a bagel and another coffee at Einstein's because I love coffee. But it helps students not run out of dining dollars as quick because you're using those swipes that you can also use at Commons. So I recommend the meal equivalency plan to anyone that is scared that they're going to run out. But I'd say my favorite place on campus is Starbucks.
Thank you. Nelson, this is probably, well, anyone can answer it, but Nelson, I think this is a question for you. How are sports games this semester? Basketball, soccer, lacrosse?
Well, this semester is going to be different. So they haven't started yet. So I'm not too sure. I mean, I'm pretty sure we're still going to be able to view. And as creative students, we're going to figure out something to make it fun. I think in the prior years, the basketball, soccer, all the games were just so fun. I think that's the one time where like you can be next to students that you don't even know. And when our basketball team scores or it's a close game and we win, especially last year in the playoffs, like it just gets very loud and fun. And the cool thing is like during the basketball games, they would bring out food for us. So they would have Chipotle at the beginning of the games or pizza or anything. It was a very fun time. This year, I know with COVID, it's going to be completely different. But I think as students, we can be very creative to make it fun. I plan to maybe set up TVs outside my apartment like I do and just hang out with some friends, 6 feet, and just enjoy those times, you know what I mean? Especially because it's just a crazy time period to live in. And it, I'm not going to say it ruined things, but it just made it different. And that's okay because we can adjust. So the basketball games, the soccer games, the lacrosse games, all the sport events were fun. And it's your time to connect with other people and friends as well.
Thank you. So currently, a lot of our activities have been happening outside because the weather permits us to be outside. But as it gets warmer, as it gets colder, and things are indoors more, Nelson talked about being creative. How will you continue to be creative in engaging with friends and peers and being engaged in clubs and activities on campus? And what recommendations would you give to other students?
I would just recommend you. I mean, like I said, just be open to trying new things. You got to remain positive through it all because, like I said, it's tough times. It's different, something that we're not accustomed to. So you got to just really just set out some goals and plans of things you want to do, and then figure out the nips and tricks of how to get around it to actually get those things done. So one thing I love to do, I love to play video games with my friends. Like we just always last year we would go to our rooms and play video game tournaments. And now that we can't have any people in our room, what we do is we set up a few TVs outside. So I live in the village apartments. I'm not sure if you guys know what it looks like out there, but we have long extension cords. We bring the TVs out. We have the chairs set up out there, and then we have gaming tournaments still. It's still very fun. It's still, and then you can be louder now because you're outside and have fun. But like I said, you gotta just be creative and try. It really depends on what you want to do, but there's always creative obstacles to get it done. It just comes down to exactly what you want to do. Get a group chat going with your friends, figure out the steps that takes that to get it done firstly, and then also the safest way to get it done. Because at the end of the day, we have been being very responsible and safe on this campus, and you want to continue that. But you also want to have fun. You don't want to be just sitting in your room all the time, not doing anything. I would say the number one thing is just to get out and do something. Like I said, COVID happened. We were inside for a very long time in quarantine. So coming back to campus, my number one goal was to not be inside 24/7. And I'm starting to get things and do things that I've never seen myself doing in the past, but they're actually fun and I'm actually enjoying it. So that's been a cool time.
Sorry, I would like to say something. I read the question from someone's mother about being in Park River, because I live in Park River right now, and we got the email yesterday that we're not allowed to have an extra guest in our space, but the neighborhoods A through F are allowed to. One thing that I did that I saw actually my neighbor do, the way where I live is like in front of the laundry room, so there's like a little niche. This past week I studied with my friend by pulling a table up, and like he sat on one end of the table in the hallway and I sat on the other end in my actual dorm. So like for that person, like for your son, maybe that's something he can do. Like if he wants to hang out with his friends, like, you know, being in the hallway with his mask on and they being in their space, you know, with the door open to play their games and stuff like that.
Another, I guess, tip is to, both Nelson and Jasmine are talking about, you know, getting creative with the spaces, or, you know, using spaces that you've never used before. And that's something that a lot of students actually have the availability to have, you know, the option for, and are available to them. They just might not know yet. So something that, and Torshia, this I think is more, you know, in your field, that the students can actually reserve some spaces to hang out with friends, to watch a game or something. And as long as like the capacity is, you know, following the COVID rules, they actually can use spaces, even such as like sometimes classrooms that have never been used before for these purposes. So my suggestion for any parents that have those kind of issues, tell your students to reach out. We'll find something for them.
Absolutely. I think that's a great point. I know, knowing who I was as a student, I tend to be on the introverted side. So if I don't have to talk to too many people, I probably won't. I've always found myself in leadership positions, so I guess I'm destined to talk to people. But my point is, if someone is on the shyer side or don't have the connections yet, tell them to stop by the office. We're in GSU 207. I work long hours, so someone's always in the office. So definitely have them stop by the office and we'll connect you. Also, to Yuli's point, there are indoor locations that people can reserve. So the reservable spaces in GSU. We do have some spaces that were never used as programming spaces before that are now being used as programming spaces. We have spaces in the 1877 that are now being used this semester. So there are places indoors where people can gather as long as we're meeting our capacity numbers per the COVID policies. All right. I don't know that there's another question in the Q&A. What percentage of students live on campus versus off campus? And I don't know the exact percentage. I don't know if any of the panelists know the exact percentage either.
Is anybody here a red key? No. We'll make a call and find out.
Yeah, we can find out and let folks know afterwards. I'm sure there's a list of everyone on the call, so we can send out that information.
Yes, and there's going to be an email contact on the last slide as well. So anybody can feel free to reach out to that email as well for any follow-up questions.
So there's a question about reaching out to help define a location. Where does he reach out? So I can type that into I'll type it into the all attendees and I'll put in the email address where you can reach out to get some answers about how to reserve spaces on campus.
Wonderful.
Sorry.
Yeah, thank you for typing that into the chat. I really appreciate that, Torshia. And let's see if there are any other questions that have come in. Let's see. Okay. Not in the Q&A. We've had some in the chat, so let me check there. Okay, so if all of the panelists are comfortable sharing their contact information in the chat, we have an attendee that would love to have the contact information. I'm sure others would as well. So you'll start to see that appear in the chat. Perfect. Thank you, everybody. Wonderful. Excellent. So we are, and Torshea also added her email. Wonderful. So we are approaching the end of the hour, and this has been such a lovely conversation, such thoughtful responses. I can't thank everybody enough for your participation, and to all of the attendees who are joining us here today. I know we can't see their faces, but thank you all for participating and submitting your questions. And we hope that you enjoy the rest of Hawktober weekend. We're still looking out on the Q&A box, so if anything does come in the last minute or so, we're happy to answer those questions. But I highlighted here for you a couple of other sessions that you might be interested in throughout the rest of the weekend. So we have 2 Hart Theater performances that will be available for viewing. A Midsummer's Night Dream as of 6 p.m. today, and Othello tomorrow as of 3 p.m. We also have our famous jazz brunch that will start tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. And then for those early birds, we do have Sunrise Yoga with alumna Nicole Carey tomorrow at 6 a.m. And all of these events, you can access the link to participate directly online at hartford.edu/Hawktober. And there's the email I mentioned earlier, parents@hartford.com. If anything comes up later on for anyone, please feel free to reach out to me directly. Let's just double check. No other questions in the Q&A box or the chat. If anybody wants to share some final pearls of wisdom, any parting thoughts in the last minute or so, we'd be happy to hear from you.
Yeah, I think I just want to say that everything's really different right now and a lot of things are changing, but it really is what you make of it and the people that you surround yourself with. Just make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people who make you feel like you're the best self, and you do things that take care of yourself, and you focus on what you need to get done and practice self-care.
My advice is for the parents who teach your kids how to do laundry. My mom didn't teach me how to do laundry, and I ruined all my sweaters when I came to college. And you don't want your son or daughter to ruin all their sweaters. So, and yeah, and like teach them how to like separate in terms of colors and like how to do like materials, and that you can dry in really high heat. Those were all things that were lost to me, and now I lost half of my wardrobe. So put this out there.
One thing I would say is just try to continue to have a positive mindset. You know, I mean, things are going to continue to change, and it's a different time period. We all have never been accustomed to this. So just have a positive mindset and always just believe that everything happens for a reason, that you'll be all right, and to keep pushing forward.
That's wonderful. Amazing, awesome last words to end on. That's right. Stay positive. Thank you all again for joining us today, and we hope you enjoyed the rest of Hawktober weekend. That's a wrap for this session. Thanks, everybody.